And so to the 13th of July. Despite unbearable pressure from the SPL and SFA to place Rangers in Division 1, the SFL clubs operated their own sporting integrity and welcomed Rangers Football Club to Division 3.
The member clubs of the Scottish Football League. Furthermore, the Scottish Football League's only acceptable position will be to place Rangers FC into the 3rd division of the Iron Brew Scottish Football League from the start of this season, 2012-2013.
We're grateful to be accepted as members of the SFL, and we accept their decision to vote Rangers into Division 3. Rangers has been handed the ultimate punishment of starting again from the bottom of the leagues, and there's an overwhelming feeling among fans within the club of wiping the slate clean.
When Rangers did eventually become an associate member of the Scottish Football League, there was a huge, I think it was relief from a lot of people, not just myself but Rangers fans and all of us together in Scottish football. We've found a place for Rangers to be, and they would be made very welcome.
David Longview and the SFL clubs welcomed us in with open arms. You know, out of all the madness and the insanity and the chaos, it should not be forgotten that myself and Charles went to a meeting at Hampden where we were warmly welcomed by the SFL clubs. Certainly the vast majority, if not all of them. Well, it wasn't all of them, but nearly all of them. But they welcomed us into the league with almost open arms, and for that, I won't forget that.
Rangers may have found a home, but nothing was settled yet, as they still had not received an SFA licence, and with the season fast approaching, they faced either agreement to a raft of punitive sanctions or not playing football at all.
You know, during those dark days in July, there was a real concern that Rangers wouldn't play again. And, you know, for me, it was really difficult times, because I'm almost sat with the sword of Damocles where, you know, I always believe and still do that you don't give in to bullies, and that's always been my belief. But there's the balance that unless I give in to some of the demands, we won't be playing football here at Ibrox. And for me, that balance was always something that I was trying to weigh up daily, weekly, to get something that would allow this great institution to continue and to get back to the top, but without giving away the lifeblood of the club.
Rules were being made up, regulations were being made up as we went along, and punishments were being made up as we went along. Some of them legitimate and some of them in the statute, that's absolutely fine, because there had to be punishment, and the punishment had to be severe, but it was this that, you know, we'll listen to our fans, they don't want Rangers in the SPL and sporting integrity and all that. Sporting integrity is a stranger to football, not just Scottish football, it's a complete stranger. So it always amuses me when people talk about sporting integrity, because they don't know the meaning of it, football people. They don't know the meaning of integrity, or a great many of them, and that's a shame, and that's what we have to bring into play. But, you know, I just think that why couldn't we just have said, look, this is a real crisis. Rangers are wrong. It doesn't matter that it was Craig White. It's wrong. You have to be punished. This is the punishment. Instead of adding bits as they went along, because some clubs or some fans would say, well, that's not enough, so we'll have to do something else. And I think there were too many vested interests, and as I say, Rangers became the victims of crass hypocrisy, actually.
With less than 48 hours until the start of the season, and under duress, Rangers reluctantly accepted a deal which gave them their licence to play football.
Well, it's great relief. There's been an enormous amount of hours and work put in by all the team, Ali, Andrew, the board, myself, numerous meetings, and to get to the point now where finally we can go out, play a game on Sunday, it's enormous relief, and it's really where the club and its fans want to be, and it's ended weeks and months of speculation.
I look back, it's madness, absolute madness. You know, with 6 players turn up for pre-season training. 6 players turn up for pre-season training. Couldn't play a pre-season game. Cancelled 3 tours, I think it was Austria, Switzerland, and because we didn't have a licence to play. We're due to play Brecon in 36 hours, 48 hours before the game. We've not got a licence to play Brecon in the cup. It was just, you know, at the time I didn't realise just the level of insanity that was going on around us, to be honest with you.
That's one of the most surreal close seasons and pre-seasons undoubtedly I've ever had. Not knowing when we're coming, what date we're coming back in, not knowing who's coming back in, not knowing if we've got a team to come back and play with. We didn't know if we could sign somebody, we didn't know where we'd be playing, we didn't know whether we were allowed to play or not. Shambles is just complete laughable. I think in 10, 15, 20 years you'll look back and you'll just laugh about how badly dealt with it's all been, and people should actually be embarrassed about how unorganised and how people can't just get a decision and make a decision, but you just want to go out and play football, but they weren't even knowing if they were allowed to do that. So
it was certainly, at that particular time, it was just chaos. It was chaotic. You know, not knowing whether we could travel up to Brecon to play the game and things like that was, you know, when you look back now, it's kind of seems so long ago and so far-fetched, but believe me, it happened.
Bolstered by the return of Andy Little and the signing of Ian Black, Ali took his ill-prepared squad north to take on Brecon in the first round of the Ramsden's Cup.
Very late on a Friday night prior to the game with Brecon in the Challenge Cup at Glebe Park. Would Rangers even fulfil that fixture? And I think once they got back out onto the park, once they played that game, once they got the licence to kick a football again, they played Brecon, suddenly it became apparent just how many supporters were rallying behind the club again.
After we got a licence, and after that first game, the turnout that day, it was Brecon. It was our first game of the season. Fans were brilliant.
Positivity enveloped Ibrox as the lifeblood of the club flocked to sign up for this incredible adventure.
Looking forward to it, really looking forward to it. Seeing them last weekend there on the telly was it's a new start, it's a new beginning, and hopefully keep the Rangers history going, start a new legacy at Rangers, and I just can't wait for it. Supposedly the tick office has been queued out for days now just for tickets for the first round of the League Cup. It's something that's almost unheard of, and I definitely can't wait to see them back in action, just to see the Rangers back on the park in any shape or form, just to see them back in the park and performing for the crowd and for the fans.
And I think the main thing is the fans get in there, buy the season ticket, get the money into Ibrox so that they can build, get the players, get their finances in order and look forward to the future.
Ali knew he needed experience to aid his youthful squad and found it by signing Dean Shields, Kevin Kyle, Fran Sandaza and Emilson Creebury. Astonishing was the only way to describe the first home game of the season, as over 40,000 dedicated fans showed what the club meant to them by packing out Ibrox in support of Rangers.
Everybody knew that Rangers fans would support their club, but and the numbers I think have surprised everybody.
The 4-0 scoreline signalled a welcome return for a Rangers team still a little unsteady on its feet. However, the first third division game of the season against Peterhead showed just how far the team still had to go. McCulloch, and Barry Mackay is in, and Mackay scores! The journey starts here. Cowie. Alistair. Another opportunity. He takes it this time. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Memories are made of this. Feet ahead and level against Rangers. Well, it's Ryan Strachan to take this corner. Alexander got something on it. But McLaughlin has rammed it back in. This is extraordinary. Shields takes it. Everyone's piling in. Kevin Kyle's header, and it's gone in. Andy Little might have got something on that as well. But much to Rangers' relief. They've saved the day. Just. The draw failed to dampen the loyal supporters' indomitable spirit. They continued to snap up season tickets as sales smashed through the 30,000 mark.
Every time I've come up here, the queues have been tremendous to see. It just shows you the passion that's still here for Glasgow Rangers. And we'll always be here, so every one of us is here to keep the team going forward. And it's history, you know, it's keeping the history going, creating new history. That's what we're here for. History was indeed being made, and records were being broken as the Rangers support packed out Ibrox in incredible numbers to see the club demolish East Stirlingshire 5-1 in their first home game in SFL 3.
Ian Black, and Templeton steadies himself. David Templeton in his Rangers debut.
David Templeton was the marquee signing as the transfer window closed on Rangers until January 2014. Carlos Bocanegra and Dori Goyan headed out on loan, while Mo Edu and Kirk Broadfoot both completed transfers to Stoke and Blackpool.
Lee McCulloch looks to capitalise. McCulloch! 9 for the season for captain, fantastic. Ali's team still had a core of experience to guide it through the first steps to recovery. Lee McCulloch was a natural leader throughout, and he was duly awarded the captain's armband. The blend of experience and youth was successful, and several of the youngsters proved their worth in the first team. And the performance of the season came when they beat SPL leaders Motherwell 2-0 in the League Cup. As the months rolled by, life in the third division became an exciting adventure for Rangers fans. Their love for the club and the game was rejuvenated as they toured the country's provisional grounds in huge numbers.
They will follow their club wherever the team plays, and I thought that the one sentence that summed that up: if they play on the street, we'll watch them from the pavement. Well, that's what football should be about, and about following your club should be about, and that in itself tells its own story. I mean, I've followed Rangers from a distance, I would say, over many years, and watched how the team has changed, evolved, changed its personality. But one thing that hasn't changed, the personality's changed on the pitch, but off the pitch, the personality of the supporters has always been the same. And I think that it just goes to show how important the team is and the club is to those fans.
Well, when I speak to people back home, you know, they always, you know, they ask me, oh, what about Rangers and, you know, third division and what's happening and things like that. And I always turn it around to see the positive things. Have you ever heard about a third division team in the world with 45,000 people at home games? It's absolutely incredible. And so people are amazed by that. And I'm not really amazed, because I know that these fans are probably among the best in the world, and to support a team like this, that support.
On average, Rangers coming to town is the equivalent of 8 to 10 home games for a small club whose average attendance may be 400 or 500. That gives you a sense of where we are on it. And the one-off cost is for that one game, therefore the benefit is terrific. What's really been encouraging is the number of hospitality, the hostelries, the hotels, the pubs. They've all done well out of this, because, you know, Rangers fans are renowned the world over for their hospitable and in the way they go about enjoying football, and that's something that you know, I've been very, very impressed with.
What we've seen here is what you expect from a passionate set of fans. I was in Britain, in Scotland certainly, that is a way of living. It's not just 90 minutes as we are in Spain. Fans go to the game and then talk about it, that's it. Here is a way of living. And as such, it is quite emotional to see the way that the Scottish fans and the Rangers fans have embraced what's happened here, how they fill the stadium. Ali McCoy was telling me how proud he is to see everybody going to the away games, and all that can only be good, because I think, again, we're going back to the basic of what football should be and what fans would be. I think we're finding a situation where people forget what the role in this game is. Fans should be fans. They shouldn't be choosing managers or getting rid of managers. They should be fans.
Some of the journalists have been amazed, understandably, by the level of support that the fans have showed us, I mean, I keep going on about 38,000 season tickets, but the atmosphere within the stadium, created by, I call them that mad squad, down on the left-hand side in the Bruno, and their efforts as well are well worthy of a mention. They create an atmosphere within the stadium, and their support for the team, and particularly the younger lads, has been absolutely immense. And we are very, very appreciative of certainly that area of the ground, but indeed all the season tickets and all the supporters that have come to the stadium, because in terms of the support for the team and the younger lads and their understanding of the situation has been fantastic. And I can totally understand, as I say, journalists throughout Europe and indeed the world been staggered by what's happening in terms of the level of sport and the level of a willingness just not to let our club go under and fold, if you like. And they're really, as I say, astounded by the story, as we are. But I wouldn't say we expected it, but we could probably understand it a little bit more, knowing the feeling knowing the general feeling for this football club from its support.
And hugely impressed by the power of Rangers support and the way that Rangers fans are conducting themselves. They're bringing a colour and drama to the games all of their own.
Nobody, not one of us, could have sat this time last year and predicted what has happened. No person alive could have said this is exactly what was going to happen. Rangers will be playing third division teams and with a season ticket base and crowds of close to 50,000. Nobody could have predicted that.
I think from that February the 14th, that year ago, the fans have been unbelievable. They've come right behind the club. I mean, they were always there, don't get me wrong, but I think they showed the fear of maybe losing something that they loved, something that they believed in. That fear has just got right behind the club, and they've done everything they can.
Financially, it's been brilliant for us. It's sad for Rangers, I can accept that, but it's been brilliant for the lower division clubs. It's set us on a financial footing that we've never had, except in Scottish Cup ties. And bearing in mind that most of the grounds in third division where Rangers have played have been filled to capacity, and that has been a tremendous boost to the financial coffers of the lower league clubs.
And I think it just has gotten to prove that we have the best fans in the world. When times are tough, Rangers fans got behind the club and showed what it means to them.
The support has just brought us through. I think that the positive you can take for the whole administration coming at the other end is, I think the fans are closer together themselves. They're closer to the players, and the players are showing a respect and a sort of togetherness, as if we're all as one. And we're all desperate to try and get the club back to where it should be, and the backing for the fans has been massive.
They've turned out in numbers, not just at Ibrox but everywhere, and they've showed Scottish football that Rangers are now the force to be. I don't think the club would get through if it wasn't for the fans' support, and it's been great to see them. But now we knew if we get the right people in, they wouldn't let such an institution like Glasgow Rangers fall.
This is an institution not just a football club, it's an institution. And I think the supporters of the lower league clubs do respect the loyalty that has been shown by Rangers supporters.
Ali had the team playing well, and they racked up a run of good results throughout November. Then, Charles Green pulled off another masterstroke when Walter Smith returned to Rangers as a non-executive director, while former Blue Knight Ian Hart also joined the board.
I think getting Walter Smith in was great, you know, not only because he's a club legend, but also because obviously at one point, you know, Walter and Charles were almost in a competing bidding situation. You know, the fact that they've been able to sit down and come to an agreement on the way forward for the club, enough to get Walter involved, is brilliant.
On the 20th of November, there was more massive news when it was revealed that the huge cloud that had been hanging over Rangers for 2 years was lifted when they won the big tax case.
Obviously, from the club's point of view, it's one that we'd hope would get. And the overriding feeling initially was obviously one of satisfaction and pleasure. So, you know, obviously there still are roads and routes for appeal, so we just have to wait and see what happens there. But at the same time, we feel it was the correct decision, and we're delighted with it.
On the field, Rangers marched on, but they took massive strides off it when, as promised and against widespread scepticism, Charles Green delivered unprecedented investment from a share issue, raising over £22 million, and the club was listed on the AIM market.
There's a lot of people who, and I mean I would include myself among them, who kind of scoffed at the idea of raising £20 million largely from institutional investors. I mean, you know, and guys who had been involved at Rangers before, who knew the business quite well, I think would have said that that was a really, really difficult task.
I must admit I was sceptical as well. When he said, I'll raise all this money through an IPO, and you're thinking, well, you know Rangers are massive, but they're in the third division. Not only that, they're in Scottish football. There's no money here. There's no great interest out with their own country.
You know, the government have still not got to grips with, you know, the economy. I think, you know, in Britain we're not performing well compared with Germany and some of the European partners. And it is a concern at business levels. And, you know, to still press on with that IPO and to get that completed, I think was a huge success, and it's credit to everyone, both the fans and to the advisors. Senkos did a great job, Deloitte's, everyone.
You could only sit back and look and think, well, he did what he said he would do. God knows how he did it, but he raised the money, it's legitimate, it's all there, and Rangers are in a fantastic position right now.
They've done, you know, with the IPO, they've done something that everybody said they couldn't do, and who's to say that, you know, they can't do all the things that they want to do now. So I think it's a really positive outlook at the moment, and the fans are certainly very engaged with the club as well.
Many would put that down to the dynamic vision of the chief executive, Charles Green.
It's been like night and day from the previous owner, and everything they've said, they've delivered, and then that's fair testament to Mr. Green and his staff. Everything that they said they've done. It's been for the greater Rangers Football Club.
I think obviously everyone was sceptical when obviously Charles Green stepped in, obviously with what had happened before, but you know, looking back, he's been the right man. Everything he's done has had the benefit of the club, and you know, I think he had to prove to the fans, you know, that he was legit and he had the best intentions for the club, and I think looking back that everything he's done, the steps that he's taken, I think everything's been spot on.
From a newspaper point of view, I think you have to be impressed with Charles Green, because he's great coffee. It doesn't matter whether he's speaking to the supporters, whether he's speaking to newspapers, whether he's speaking to broadcasters. He always speaks very well. He's always got a line to put out there. The most impressive thing, though, has been the way he has rallied the support behind him almost unanimously. From the day he's got McCoist on board, he's now got Walter Smith on board. As you say, all the supporters groups seem to back him, seem to back his vision. And he's done well. He has done well.
And I think he's taken to it, and I think he's a Rangers fan now.
There is little doubt that Charles Green and his consortium saved the club. But no one should underestimate the massive role played by manager Ali McCoist.
The manager's been a rock for a year. You know what he had to go through Now he's unparalleled to another Rangers manager, and he's come out stronger, better for it. And I said now with the backing, everybody, now even though it be the fans, the staff, or Mr Green, everybody, now we'll be there. We'll be again challenging. Now, there was dark days, we sat down now, wondering what was going to be happening, but as I said now, he took it on himself, he took now the mantle of being now the man to get Rangers back on track, and I think now, for what he's done now, he deserves a lot of credit, and for all the work, hard work he's put in the last year, we can go and get his name etched and win trophies and get the manager that now he deserves.
Many Rangers detractors tried to claim there was no continuous history, but that falsehood was smashed into oblivion when the Rangers family gathered on the 8th of December to celebrate 140 years of glory and unrivaled success.
We shouldn't forget the history, because that's a very important part, and of course it's the history of Rangers that attracted me and my investors to it. But it's the positive part of the history I think is key, not the negative part, because we only have a certain amount of time in our lives to achieve things, and what we don't want to do is spend part of that dealing with the negative part of history. I think we all need to move forward. We can take this club forward. We need to remember the great times that Rangers had, because that is the spur, because we want them again.
Razor Red.
The progression on the field continued as Rangers marched relentlessly towards the SFL3 title, and a huge feeling of recovery and progress enveloped everyone connected with the club. Of course, the recriminations from the events of the past year are far from over, with joint liquidators BDO and Strathclyde Police continuing their investigations into the White regime. However, there is little doubt that all in the Rangers family have hope and belief in a bright future.
What we've been given is a great base, you know. We've been given a great base by the supporters and the investors. Firstly, the supporters have been, 38,000 season tickets is a phenomenal amount of season tickets. Almost unbelievable, incredible. We're forever indebted to them for that, and also the investors and indeed the supporters who've invested in the club to give us this sound base. But that's all we've got, you know. We have come a long way in terms of our survival, but we've got an even further way to go in terms of our improvement and our journey.
As you can imagine, every story becomes a bigger story if there is a relation to what's happening in your own country, and Spain is collapsing, Spanish football is imploding, and what happened to Rangers could easily happen to another big club in Spain. So there are lessons to be taken from it, and it's one of those things that you would have said it will never happen. Not just because, yeah, you can run a club badly or well, but it gets to a point that you think if there's a problem, authorities will help, or you know, God will intervene and everything will be sorted. But no, it doesn't happen. If things are not properly done, then this could happen. And then the second half of this, I would say, fascinating story, even though it may be sad for fans, but a lesson to many, is just the fact that actually how you're building the club to actually become another, again, a strong force in Scottish football and hopefully in European football. You're doing it the right way.
I mean, without the fans, no club really, and especially for Rangers in these circumstances. I mean, playing yourself through, let's say, a third division is tough. You know, I lost a lot of players. A lot of players have left, and trying to get back on track with young players, it's going to take some time. But eventually, after my meeting today with Charles, I'm sure that Rangers will get there. It's just about time, and Rangers will come back even stronger. I'm sure about that.
We're on the road to recovery. there was a dark year there, but now we can see light at the end of the tunnel now, and you've got to go and head for the light. As I said, now there was a lot of dark days, but that's behind us now. We can only try and rebuild the great Rangers name, and we'll not be for the want of trying.
You know, and there was obstacles in the way, and there will be, there still will be in the future, and it is tough, but you know, we're on the right road to recovery, you know, and whatever steps come in front of us, we'll take them challenges and we'll beat them, you know, because we know we're a strong club, we have the backing of the fans, and you know, whatever comes in our way, we'll get over it, and hopefully, if it's going to take 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, this club will get back to the top flight of Scottish football.
Massive job still to be done, but Rangers are debt-free. They have money in the bank. They are perfectly positioned to get through this and to become possibly stronger than ever. I think there's every reason to believe this is a new dawn breaking over Ibrox, and I think that the people in charge now will make the most of that, and I think the fans are in for it will still be a rough ride, but I think ultimately the fans will see their club back at the very top.
This dark chapter in the Rangers story will soon be consigned to the history books, and the Chief Executive is seeking new glories for the club he now holds dear, and will never allow a repeat of the disastrous events that almost destroyed Rangers Football Club.
We don't want to see a camera crew outside with another Duff and Phelps talking about administration of Rangers. It's part of the history, but we don't want to think about it for the future. What we do want to think about is the Champions League game here, or winning the title here again. And they're the things that I'm looking forward to, and they're the things that I think all of us should focus. And again, you know, there was a lot of anger last year. You know, I sat in meetings with SPL clubs. I don't have anger for them now. I feel sorry for them. And that's compassion. So I was angry, I was frustrated. Ali McCoyce was sat with me at times, Andrew Dixon was sat there, we went in meetings and it was mindless. It had no business sense, which is what really frustrated me. And, you know, it was very, very disappointing. But I don't have anger now towards SPL clubs. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for all of them, because every one of them is in a worse position by not having Rangers in that team. And forget the rhetoric, forget the rubbish that people come out and say. The fact is, every one of them clubs financially is missing Rangers. And we're not missing any of them. But what we have to do is move forward and draw a line.
Turbulent, traumatic and terrifying aptly describes the events of the past 12 months for all Rangers supporters. But they have ensured that this great club has not only survived, but commenced its rise to greatness once more. The sheer strength of feeling, the undying passion and the loyal commitment of the fans has been the real story of an often painful process. Those who craved the demise of Rangers Football Club completely misjudged the power and unity of the Rangers family. They also did not bargain for Charles Green, who has revitalised Rangers and has the vision and strategy to return the club to its rightful place. Rangers have survived. The journey has begun. This has been the first chapter of the Rising.